Hey, I've been thinking about absolute zero and what a weird concept it is. Absolute zero is the theoretical position of the perfect concept of cold. What I mean by the perfect concept of cold is what we think of as heat is just energy. Right? That's the basic explanation that everyone knows. But what a lot of people don't seem to understand is just how much energy everything is. And absolute zero is just that. There is no energy left. Now, the only way to do this would be to drive all of the energy out of a set space, which is physically impossible, which is why absolute zero is only and can only ever be a theoretical. This is because there's only two ways of moving pure energy. That is moving it from a high state to a low state, which is drawing it from a warm place to a cold place, essentially. And that's what entropy is, effectively. All energy in the universe is slowly fading out of whatever it is now and slowly moving towards bleeding out into raw space, becoming background cosmic radiation. The reason why this makes absolute zero impossible is because you would need a lower state than absolute zero for the heat to transfer into. But due to absolute zero being absolute zero, there is no lower state of energy. The other way of moving pure heat is with various types of machines. We have a lot of examples of this on the small scale, where we're compressing air and using the heat that generates to cool off a set area, and then that draws the heat towards that, cooling it off. That's how freezers work. The reason why this can't be used we can't create a machine to create absolute zero in a set space is all of those require energy to use, and the colder you want something, the higher the energy you need. So the amount of energy it would take to put something into absolute zero would contaminate the area that you're trying to create to absolute zero, raising it above absolute zero. The only way for there to be actual absolute zero would for there effectively to be a reverse Big Bang, where all the energy and subsequently all of the matter, because matter naturally produces a small amount of energy, because there's a very, very, very small line about where light is, actually, where matter turns to energy and energy turns to matter. Light is effectively that little borderline, because light is, in theory, pure energy, except it has mass and is affected by mass. It acts like it is matter without having a physical side. I mean, it does have a physical side in theory, except it doesn't, because it's that line between energy and matter. So it acts like both almost simultaneously. It's almost because there's nanoseconds of difference between the two that scientists are effectively just poking at and guessing. Einstein's actually the one who effectively proved this with the particle wave duality of light, in which he effectively set up a very fancy camera on the day of an eclipse. Like, this was, I think, over 100 years ago at this point, but the camera he used would have been slightly better than what we have in our phones today, which is a massive improvement over what they had at the time. Like, it took us 100 years to catch up. Massive improvement. But he proved that for a split second, if you're staring at it, light will act like a particle. But for a split second, when you're not staring at it, even if you are technically staring at it, it acts as a wave. This was later expanded upon to discover that light is moving constantly, not constantly at the speed of light, despite the name, because the speed of light is the speed of light in a vacuum, and it is very rare that everything is in a vacuum, because vacuums cannot exist because they are vacuums. They're sucking everything else up, and once they do, they're no longer a vacuum. That's why saying the vacuum of space is technically incorrect. But that means that the only way for there to be absolute zero is if all energy is converted back into matter, and all matter is contained within a single point where it is incapable of transferring itself back into energy. At which point, that means the entire universe, everything in it, is sitting in a single point, which is theoretically what it was before the Big Bang. So the only way for there to be absolute zero is for there to be a reversed Big Bang beforehand. But yeah, that's me thinking about absolute zero. Thank you for listening.